Hi, today we're going to take notes on using absolute value to compare numbers. You want to put these notes on page 49 and 50 of your interactive notebook. The topic is, once again, comparing absolute value. The essential question is, how can I compare two numbers using absolute value and the number line? The standards are 6 and a 7. You can compare numbers using absolute value. And 6 and a 6, I can extend the number line to include negative numbers. Now, in 5th grade, we use the number line mostly just in the positive range. We focused on whole numbers or even some fractions and decimals, but we always kept them on the positive side of things. Now that we're in 6th grade, we're going to start to move into using the number line with negative numbers. Let's do some practice. Before we get to that practice, though, let's remember just quickly what an inequality symbol is. Our inequality symbols that we have are, I like to think of them as a little alligator that eats the bigger number and leaves the littler number alone. We have the greater than and less than signs. And remember, the mouth opens to the larger number. When we are doing a number line, so let's make a number line here. We're going to use the center is going to be our 0, and I'm going to do ticks. I'm going to do my ticks at intervals of 5 because of space. So I'm going to have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so forth. And then over here, I'm going to have -5, -10, -15, -20, -25, and -30. Okay, so I'm going to look at use this number line to kind of help me with my process that I'm going to do. And we want to remember that as we move forward this way, the number is going to be higher. It most likely is going to be moving towards the positive. It'll be the most. And as I move this way on the number line, my number is going to be lower. It might be in the negative, and it would be the least. So remember, the further left, the lower the number. The further right, the more the number is raised, which is just another way of saying the number is higher or bigger. All right, we're going to do the same number line again. So we're going to do, once again, a number line using our counting by 5. So I'm going to have 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. -30. So this would be -15. This would be 5, 10, 15. Okay. So, which is bigger, -30 or -25? So we want to know, is -30 bigger or less than -25? We're going to use the number line to help us. Now, if these were positive numbers, we know that the number that's bigger is always the number that's further down away from 0. But these are both negative numbers, so that would tell us that usually we just know that the number is smaller if it's further moving to the left. But let's put it on a number line to make sure. Okay? So the first one we have is -30. -30 is right here. And then we have -25, which is going to be right here. Now, we want the number that's further this way is going to be smaller. So which one is further this way? Well, this one is further this way on our number line. So that means that it is the smaller number. So -25 is actually greater than -30. All right, let's do another one. On this one, we're comparing 8 and we want to know which one is bigger, and negative 3. Now you might be able to do this in your head, and that's okay, but what I want us to actually do is practice using the number lines. So we're going to put a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a negative 3, I know I'm going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. And this is negative 3. Okay, so the further this way, smaller. The further this way, the bigger. So if here's my number, and this one's my number, which one is further to the left? Negative 3. Therefore, negative 3 has got to be smaller than negative 8 because it's further to the right. So 8 is bigger than negative 3. So now let's look at a problem that uses absolute value. Which is larger, the absolute value of 3 or the absolute value of 2? Use the number line to help. So we want to know, is this or this bigger? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, remember, absolute value is not the actual placement on the number line. It's the amount of hops. So for negative 3, it's going to be right here. How many hops from 0 is that? How many steps from 0? 1, 2, 3. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. How many steps is 2 from 0? 1, 2. 2 steps. So for that reason, even though 2 by itself would be bigger than negative 3, we're looking at the absolute value, and the absolute value of these numbers, the 3 has a greater absolute value. It's further from 0. So it would, in this case, be bigger because it's absolute value and not the number by itself. Okay. So on our page over here, well, we're starting by taking these notes on the 20th. Revision or revisit. Okay. So we have these numbers. We have to decide if they're equal, if they are greater than or less than. Now you can do this in different ways. If you just want to use the rules that you already know, you can. If you want to use a number line, you can. Understand that a positive is always going to be greater than a negative. A positive will always be greater than 0. A negative will always be less than 0. So that might help. Now, where it gets tricky is if you have a positive or a negative or a negative. If it's a negative and a negative, the further left that number is on the number line, the greater it's going to be, or the less it's going to be. If you have a positive and a positive, the further right on the number line, the greater that number is going to be. The other thing that's tricky is if it's asking you for absolute value. Absolute value is just the amount of hops from 0. So that could actually make a number that is a negative number bigger than a positive. So let's look at these. The first one is negative 4 and negative 5. Well, if we have a number line, okay, I'm just going to start with my number line like that. I might add to it. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4. This is negative 4, and this is negative 5. Well, which one is further left? The negative 5. That means that it is smaller. If it's further to the left, smaller. Further to the right, bigger. So that means that negative 4 is bigger than negative 5. All right, the next one is the absolute value of negative 8. Okay? When we're looking at the absolute value of negative 8, you're looking at how many hops you have. So here's number 8. Here's 6. So that's negative 8. Here's positive 6. But we're not doing negative 8. I mean, if we were just comparing negative 8 to 6, obviously Negative 8 is further to the left, therefore it would be smaller. But we're looking at the absolute value. How many hops is negative 8 from 0? So let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is 8 steps. 8 steps is bigger than 6 steps. Therefore, it is actually going to be bigger. All right, at this point, I want you to do the last 3 on your own, remembering the rules and utilizing a number line if you need to, or if you would like to. All right, if you need to go back and review the notes, please do so. If you have any questions or concerns, you're welcome to email me or see me before or after school. Have a great day. Bye.